Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ayanna and this is Beyond Committed, where we're taking everything from life to family to marriage to faith and everything in between, and we're taking it beyond. If this is your first time here, thanks for stopping by, and to make sure you're not a stranger, make sure you press the subscribe button below and then turn on the notifications so you don't miss a video. And today I have an extra special guest. My husband Eric is joining us today, and we're talking about marriage and family. So all right, now let's dive right in. All right, now we're talking about that stay-at-home wife, mom life. That life for some of us is like, yes, this is what I always wanted. This was my dream. And for others, it's like, no. A, I can't be at home with these kids all day. They're going to drive me crazy. Or B, I can't be at home with my kids because I need to provide in some way. And no matter what point you are or what decision that you made at some point in time when you've had kids, you have that conversation. And for some of us, that conversation is not so easy because our husbands just don't agree.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was that husband, that guy. When Ayanna approached me and said, hey, I'm thinking about being a stay-at-home mom, my first response was, get out of here with that. First of all, we needed the money. We had considerable amount of financial debt due to our educational journeys. We both hold advanced degrees. We had ambitions of purchasing our first home. We had just, in the process of starting a family, we had a 2-year-old and then had recently had twins as well. And so the idea of taking away a considerable amount of income out of the equation just didn't seem like a solution.
All right, now let me backtrack a little. Yes, we both have advanced degrees. He has his doctorate and he has a PhD. I have my doctorate and I have a PharmD. So yes, we're both doctors. And for anybody who knows that has any type of advanced degree, that takes a lot of money. So that means Sally Mae was a permanent resident at our house, even though we would have liked to evict her a lot earlier than we did.
Amen. Even beyond the money, right? The next aspect for me was like we had goals, ambitions. So like I mentioned before, we wanted to purchase a home. There were places we wanted to travel, things we wanted to do. And I didn't see, again, how her stepping out of her role as a pharmacist, and might I add, she was doing that thing. She was killing the game as a pharmacist, right? She had a great, bright future early on. She was managing a pharmacy. She helped to launch and open a whole new pharmacy. Her passion for her patients was really off the charts, and her team and everybody supporting her and, living that firsthand, watching the genesis of that and her energy. And I'm like, you want to give all that up for what?
But see, I had to realize first for myself and then to help him see that it wasn't about giving up a thing. It was about getting something new. And it's so important that as we transition in seasons that we understand that it's okay to shift. It's okay to move on to the next thing. You don't have to leave all those things behind. You can take some of them with you, but it's okay to change. And in life, we do it, and we do it so effortlessly at times. I mean, going from a single woman to a married woman, that was a change. Going from just a married woman to now a married woman with kids, and then with 3 kids. I mean, that was a big shift in and of itself. And it was so important that in the midst of that, I started to realize, okay, what do I really want? What is God really showing me? And helping my husband to see that as well. And at first, it was not easy. I mean, I prayed a lot. There were some tears that he didn't see. But it was so important for me to see, okay, Lord, I know you're bringing this to me. I know you're showing me this is what the next thing is for me. But how do I do it? How do I do it with my husband's support? How do I do it with him not just supporting me, but helping me to thrive? And I learned in that to start to own my voice and realizing that change is okay. And even though we had these plans, and we wanted to do all this traveling, which we still travel. We just got to travel with extra people. It's just that we have to make sure that in the midst of all of that, we're still communicating. We're still coming together to find ways to see each other's point of views, even if they're different, and always keeping it centered on God and praying to help God not change us and make them think like us, but help us to change our hearts and be able to see each other as God sees us and how he wants to see us.
Yeah, and I would add that, ultimately that's just it. At the end of the day, a marriage is a covenant, right? So it's us and God. And oftentimes when we're misaligned and we don't agree, it's that much more important to be going to God in prayer, like Ayanna was doing, kind of saying, hey, this is my heart, this is my desire, this is what I'm looking to do. But my husband doesn't see it, he's not getting it. And so for even myself, moving past my own knowledge in terms of the logistics, when I look at the money and what her take home pay was and what daycare and child care and all of those expenses would be and the logistics that would be required, it really was relatively a wash. We weren't going to be that much more ahead. And beyond that, I had to, basically do some fact finding, right? So again, taking that time to say, well, really, what is the root issue? What is my fear? What is my concern regarding her income fading away? If I truly believe and say that God is my source and provider, surely he will help us meet the needs of our family.
And then let's go back to those logistics. That would be me logistically managing it all, because at the time he traveled a lot for work. He still does. He loves his career and I support him in that. And at the time, with the twins being newborns and my oldest being just 2.5, he traveled 3 to 4 days a week. So that was me getting people to and from. That was me making sure everything was prepared. So in the midst of all of it, it was a logistical nightmare, but it was my nightmare.
Hey, I was in there.
Yeah.
When I was in town.
Exactly.
And so ultimately at the end of the day, I would just encourage the husbands out there, if you find yourself in a similar dilemma or challenge or situation, to really seek God on it, because it is a step of faith also for us to have to trust a little bit more. And then the cool thing that I can say about it in hindsight is that on the other side of that blessing of her becoming a stay-at-home mom granted us so much favor in terms of flexibility. The fact that she's able to stay with the girls really since they've been home through all the activities that they have now, the flexibility to do things. I'm like, I don't know if it's just me, but it's like things happen like right after school now. Before it used to be somewhat of a gap, but she's available because otherwise, if we both were in our careers, we would need an additional caretaker involved to help make that all possible. And that enters a whole nother dynamic that people have to manage as well. And so at the end of the day, I think it's all about what God has for you and your family, and you being wise to make those decisions relative to your situation, your heart's desires, and going from there.
And then one thing I realized through it all is that it wasn't just him I was fighting. It was like friends and family who wanted to have their input about what was going on in our house. And are you sure? You not working? And it's like, if we decide something, that's what we decide. So as for me and my house, so what we decide in here, and the same thing goes for you. No matter what situation you're in, and no matter what decision you come to, as long as y'all are united on it and God is at the center, you're gonna have to fight for it sometimes. And there was times when family was like, when you going back to work? And are you sure? And I'm sitting here having to defend myself in my home, and I'm like, why I gotta do that? And then after a while, we just were like, okay, let's stop doing that. Let's stop defending ourselves, because we made a decision. We can be comfortable and confident in that because God was at the center of our decision, and he's helping us to grow and to stretch and to thrive within it. So all the naysayers will just have to do that over there.
Yeah, and I would say at the end of the day, you really have to, it boils down to, do you believe, right? It's that kind of act of faith in every little thing. And I think this was a major shift in our lives. But I can look back over a lot of changes and things that have occurred in our lives, challenges, wins, opportunities. None of it was a part of, quote unquote, our plan or my plan, right? It's what God has for us. And so I'm excited about what he has in store and what lies ahead. And, I just would encourage you to continue to stay diligent, continue to keep those open lines of communication so that you're on the same page and really trying to understand where the other person is coming from.
And then realize that even if you're a stay-at-home mom, that may not be the end of your story, just like it wasn't the end of mine. So I'm transitioning from being just a stay-at-home mom to now being a work-at-home mom, which is such a blessing. And yes, it took some finagling as well. It took some conversation, some heart checks for both of us. But it is such a blessing to know that all the lessons we learned then, we can carry into now, and we can help others as well.
Yeah.
All right, now that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this because I know I did. And I want to know, where are you? Are you a stay-at-home mom? Are you a work-at-home mom? Do you work outside of the home? Anything. If you have any questions about marriage, stay-at-home mom life, work-at-home mom life, just wife life, and all points in between, make sure you drop them in the comment box below. We would love to hear from you. And also make sure that you press the subscribe button so you don't miss a video. All right, now, until we see you again.
Holla.